Yep. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the fifth rendition of White Noise here at Greenkill. I'm just opening for now, and I wanted to just say that I created a very loose theme for tonight. I don't expect anyone to abide by it, but I just wanted to put it out there for the beginning of the reading. And I was thinking, since it's February, the month of love and all that, I wanted to make the theme of this reading about like self and inner love and however we express that. And I also wanted to mention that we have a bunch of readers here today, which is super exciting. And I wanted to say that their readings, or everybody's readings, should be 8 minutes maximum. We're not going to tell you to come off stage, but just be respectful because there is a lot of people here. Yeah, there's also a donations box suggested if anyone would like to donate to Greenkill and to this event so we can keep it running. And I am also selling my book here. It's called Sewage Flowers. It is $10. It is something I'm trying to get rid of, so I'm selling it. And yeah, our first reader for tonight is Moral P. So welcome up, Moral P.
Yep. Hi, guys. Good to see you all. I will also be selling, but I'll be selling oranges by the bag outside after the show. I'm sorry, I thought that was really funny. I was very excited to say that. I just wanted to start by saying, this is a great theme, self-love and love for others. I find that, when I live my life in gratitude, that's when I feel the most love upon myself. I feel a lot of self-esteem when I do esteemable things, and I'm very grateful for my journey. Tonight, I'm going to be reading 3 pieces that are not my own, and then I'm going to end with a poem that I'm working on right now. And, when I was first starting to write and perform my writing, I did it down in a city called Peekskill, and it was with a group called Floetic Vibrations. Shout out to my friend Rebecca, who is the reason I'm here today. And this was a group of people who mostly were rappers and wanted to be rappers, and none of us had an education, and none of us had any formal training in art, but we met and we would perform art and go around together. And sometimes when I'm in artistic spaces, I feel very small and I get very self-conscious. My ego goes crazy because I don't think I belong. And I think to get over that, I need to pay homage to the art I found in untraditional roots. I'm not somebody who went to school, but a lot of my favorite poetry I found on Facebook mom groups or clippings in magazines from comics and things. So I'm gonna read 3 pieces that meant a lot to me throughout the last few years, and I'll tell you guys where I found them all. I clipped this poem out of a magazine about 5 years ago. I don't remember what the magazine was called, but I have the artist's name. I don't know who this is. I think they were a local to that town. The artist is called Chris Shaw, and the poem is called Regrets Only. I can't stay in this house. The siding peels and a mouse died in the walls. The neighbors are collecting cats I have to save. I'm done with this body. Crow's feet and skin dripping post-baby belly. My guts are beautiful, they say. We're failing 7th grade. Test schedules and book reports make us dumb. Our common core is in music, museums, and madness. Tonight is so canceled. I wouldn't marry again for all the tea in China. Having lost all faith in the goodness of men, I could even leave America. Hypocrisy and ignorance are displacing me. Oh, I clicked it. Hold on. Hypocrisy and ignorance are displacing me. I'll miss the things I don't recognize anymore. I'm sorry, I'm just not available. I have prior engagements with other people, places, and things I don't regret yet. All right, my next poem is by a woman called Ciara Freeman, who wrote a book called Urban She. I did not read this in a book. I read this on a Facebook poetry page. It's called Grinding. My father is gone, but one of his friends still asks me what he would think if he could see me on this stage shaking my ass like the whores they used to throw bills at. I do not need a degree to know what he is really asking. What if my father could see him watching me shake my ass tonight? I think my father would be angry either way, so I say, yes, he would be mad. This calms him. Looks like he figured I could be ready to argue with him down about it, to release some sort of tension that had throbbed him into approaching me. I do not back away. I don't charge him for the guilt. It's free in the club, dribbling out of lips and onto laps. It's not the guilt that keeps him here, or my father and his ghost, a fearsome saint with one bullet hole shot to the head. It is a G-string slicing my ass like a warm muffin, licks the corner of his mouth like a street he wants to clean. He sees the sweat sliding between my tits and dreams of a river he can drown in. His dick is aimed at me like a lesson I am supposed to learn. He looks the same ashamed he wants me to feel. I dance on him all night. I leave him penniless and apologizing to a dead man. All right, my last poem that's not mine is called, thank you, is called After the Divorce. I think of something my daughter said about Mars, and it's about Maggie Smith. I found this on a Phantom of the Opera Facebook page. That's my truth. After the divorce, I think of something my daughter said about Mars. Once you go, you can never come back. If you return to Earth, the gravity would turn your bones to noodles. I mean, your skeleton would sort of melt. So if you go, you have to stay gone. All right, thank you for that. And I am going to read a poem I've been working on that, today I feel a lot of self-love, but at one point I didn't. So I'm going to read about a lie I told. This poem is called Under Bed Bag. Graciously, I tear open bag from under bed. I bow heavy my head to mighty sage toilet paper dispenser. My neck is crooked like Graybird. On pink flamingo friend pinned onto wall, pinned above heavy head that cannot sleep, so silent bird. Upon reflection, I remember knowing that toilet paper dispenser belongs to everyone, and in it I see once more a glimpse of unity. My secret savior, noble toilet paper dispenser, I covet cautiously your whispers and watch from cradle my grave. Cravings to craters, my teeth show Swiss cheese smile, my mouth so holy until dentist devil stuffs my cheeks full of false bone. Bone begets bag, and again I am given glorious bottle. Bottle and bag, then bag and bag. I buried you beneath that bed 3 months ago, and now with silver piece to show, I stand in a room full of government bucks and yokel fucks. I beckon, and bag is brought from under bed. John walks into the DSS office like a man with just enough money to not belong here. I am exiting a room full of phones and feel like I do not belong here, but I do. As the space between us lessens, gray flamingo hangs like a noose over a nest I am ungrateful for, but have earned. And John hands me a bag filled with bags from under bed, and Graybird is 20 miles away, silent. I share a stall with a parade of mops and mop buckets and a girl who I desperately need to like me. Her hands are given the burden of what her mouth cannot say. Her fingers spell love in the shape of a lead-fed flamingo on printer paper that at the time held meaning, but in time, my mind erases all morsels of that moment, but leaves me with the burden of guilt. Forgotten inside joke from some squash tomato girl so ungrateful for her nest. Stapled to the wall was gray flamingo friend, and I, a chicken with a sock in my bra, fled from forest to hilltop to earn more silver piece than I could ever know what to do with. En route, or en route, I never knew. I asked the man behind the map to stop so I can buy a pack of Newport 100s, and I wonder how free it must feel to be pinned onto a wall. Thank you. And up next is, oh crap, up next is Summer. Is she here? Here. All right, Summer, you're next. All right,
Sure, yeah, thank you. That's good. Thank God. Okay. Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, hi, I'm Summer. I'm one of the, hosts here. I was late tonight, but I'm here. And I'm going to read a short piece of prose I wrote that is very much inspired by Olga Tokarczuk's House of Day, House of Night. And it's called House of Bone, Body of Breath. All right, here we go. Built in the bosom of the earth, supported by the stones buried deep within her flesh, and structured, boned by her trees. The house, a dead body as soon as it's erected. It's constantly returning to earth. Wooden houses are especially ephemeral. Where the house built of stone stands cemented to its mountainous foundation, a stubborn tooth jutting out into the firmament, the wooden house is no more than a large, hollow tree with little glass eyes to look out upon the world. The glass eyes gaze fixedly upon its more liberated brethren, the oak, the dogwood, the evergreen, as they flower and bloom, drop leaves and stand barren, house the birds and the bugs and the bees of the world. Though they appear dead in winter, they're always breathing, moving, living, crying. Therefore, the house, as a naturally dead entity built from dead matter whose foundation sits upon a sepulcher, is something both of this world and apart from it. In death, it is able to live. It has seen the great beyond, and the great beyond is simply the great beyond these borders. The afterlife for the house is succinctly situated in our daily lives. We eat, live, sleep, love, fight in the rotting ribcage of the house. We haunt the house from within while it stares, perhaps longingly, perhaps dejectedly, at its living kin. Yet it is not as if the house has no recourse of its own. The house rots out from under us. The house welcomes termites to saw through its bones and carpenter bees to overtake its rafters. The house calls upon the forces of flora and fauna, climbing ivy and squirrel and woodpecker to eat away inch by inch the house's exposed exterior. We do our best to keep these forces at bay, but no matter our effort, the basement will always eventually smell of mold. The walls sag ever so slightly as the house sighs its way down, down into the earth where it longs to be. Always we're fighting the nature of the house with our fresh coats of paint and annual power washing of the sidings. We latch onto the house as if and when we leave, we can see the places where our claw marks rent ceiling and floor, sofa and mantle. When we die, we will see the same claw marks on heart and lung, skin and eye, bladder and colon. So badly we want the house to live forever, so badly we want the body to live forever, but the house was dead as soon as it was erected, and the body was old enough to die as soon as it was born. So the great mystery of the after, the great beyond, heaven and hell, can also probably be solved by the house. There's nothing but this exact moment. In this exact moment, the house is both dead and settling down back into the earth from where it came. It is towering above the blades of grass and flowers and stones that it's built upon. It is temple and sepulcher, grave and bed. We grow and grow until one day, if we live long enough, we, like the house, begin to sink. The gravity of life is simply too much for us, for anyone. We long to lie in the flowers, throw earth upon a grave. We are all constructed from the dead parts of the universe, stardust and carbon, imagination and hydrogen. When I leave this house, it will breathe a sigh of relief because, at least for a little while, it will not be forced to wear the mask of life. It will be able to, at least for a moment, sink into itself and become the yawning chasm, the unblinking void in the universe that it was always built to be. Thanks, guys. That's pretty much all I have tonight.
Oh, it's not for, I'm not going. I'm announcing. And next up is Clara.
So I don't have an enormous amount to say tonight. I've been working a lot more than I've been writing. Thank you. And I've been working 50 hours a week at a scrapyard up in Schenectady, and I've been reading a lot of books about saints and martyrs and relics. And so I only have scraps for you tonight. But this is, and I also have one poem written by another poet that I want to read at the end. But this is what I've got. The ways in which scrapyards resemble the medieval trade of relics and reliquaries. The metal matters because we are told it matters, the same way that paper prayers we hand to our devotees matter. Metal matters not for what it is, but for what a skilled hand, monumental machine, or a voice can make it. Also, the meaning of innocence. The open-throated voices of lead pipes falling against a chorus of closed nasal tones, uttering words closed to me, both languages closed to me. Half-mad prophets stream in, wild-eyed women whose wounds do not heal, not even when the yard manager or a lowly EMT lays on hands. Oh, you grappler, you great beast of scrap world, I watch the sun rise from your armpit. I watch your angry little heart climb inside you, you massive cavity. You toddler who tears apart the frames of the world. Stand among the wreckage, truck carcasses and masses of wires. Transfiguration begins here. I have one more complete poem that isn't just scraps. The title for now is Joan of. There is something to be said. Something must be, so I speak for them because no one else seems to hear muted voices. Poor choice of words. For there is something to be said for the raving, half-mad prophets peddling copper wire and brass bronze chalice. There is something to be said for the efficiency of relic-based economy. It is carried out in the pockets of thousands. In pockets and pails and shopping carts, old beaters left by the roadside to rot, to become other people's problems. Every day there is a choice to feed charismatic visions or quiet them. There is something to be said. Though it is said through inch-thick glass, though said beneath the 100 eyes of a dozen cameras, I trade wishes for the new year with my real-toothed smile, the steel baton just within reach. And then I have one poem by a poet named Sasha Dugdale. It's called Dark Matter, and I felt like it was a better explanation of the ideas that I've been having recently. So she says, the contents of the museum were moved to a bunker and then disappeared. Old photos show us what was lost, a few black and white old masters taken at a distance, a grainy picture of a statue hunched ready for flight, the purr of a lost queen on a throat of ancient velvet. Even the urge to speculate on their fate is muted now, shipped out in sack, burnt or heaped over with the gravel and rock of a dying city. The odd leads trail into darkness, which is where the other 9/10 of human endeavor end. The known world expands, but the world we buried grows faster still. Its statuary fills with a universe of mirrored halls. Its songs echo soundlessly, and tangled in the stars 1,000 poets whose faces lie smashed under battlefields. As we seek to perfect the chord, the line, the divine form, remember wax tablets, scrolls, scribbles on a palace wall trampled into strata. Remember how porcelain melted. Remember there's an undone precedent for everything we've done. Somewhere, dark energy is shooting coins from forgotten civilizations into a jukebox larger than the sun. Thank you.
Hi again, everyone. Okay. Hi again, everyone. Next, we'd like to welcome Mo to the stage.
Yeah, keep doing that with your fingers. It's going to warm your fingers up. Yeah. This is the first open mic I've ever been to with a 3-camera shoot. So cheers for whoever put that together. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. A man went to the doctor and said he's depressed and felt alone and isolated in a threatening world where the future is bleak and uncertain. The doctor said to the man, "The treatment is simple. Tonight, the great clown Pagliacci is in town. Go and see his show. Surely that will lift you up." And the man burst into tears and said, "But doctor, I am Pagliacci." Great joke, right? Yeah. Here's an original song. It's called "You Used to Be Beautiful." You used to be so beautiful. You were the apple of my eyes. Look what you've done to yourself. You never heard the mirror cry. The needle took you down. 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 Motherfucker, down under the ground, yeah. You used to be so beautiful. You had no fears, none at all. You told the world you were unbreakable. You thought you were too high to fall. The needle took you down. 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 Underground, motherfucker, that's right, yeah. You used to be so beautiful. The dope man crept inside your door. You said you'd kick before that fateful day. Your mother found you on the floor. The needle took you down. 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 Motherfucker, down under the ground, yeah. Used to be so beautiful. The pastor spoke to empty seats. You promised that you'd quit tomorrow. Your words became a prophecy. The needle took you down. 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 Motherfucker, down under the ground, yeah. Yeah, as I said before, keep clapping, make your hands feel warmer. So we have to end on a high note. So let's do some Pink Floyd, but let's do it as a minor polka. Yeah. Daddy's flown across the ocean, leaving just a memory. Snapshot in the family album. Daddy, what else did you leave for me? Daddy, what'd you leave behind for me? All in all, it was just a brick in the wall. All in all, you are all just bricks in the wall. We don't need no education. We don't need our thoughts controlled. Dark sarcasm in the classroom. Teacher, leave us kids alone. Hey, teachers, leave us kids alone. All in all, you are all just bricks in the wall. All in all, it was all just bricks in the wall. I don't need no arms around me. I don't need no drugs to calm me. I have seen the writing on the wall. Don't think I need anything at all. All in all, it was just a brick in the wall. All in all, you are all just bricks in the wall. Thank you very much. Yep. Yep. All right. Let me know when it's muted and I'll remove the wire. Yeah. Yep. Okay, thank you again.
Okay. And up next, we'd like to introduce Robin back to the stage.
Hi. I have my jacket with me because I'm freezing, but I wanted to look cute up here, so, I might put it on if I start shivering. So the first one I'm going to read, I wrote today, actually, after I made this theme about self-love and inner love, I just kind of came up with this poem and wanted to share it with you guys. It's called For Me, Not You. I tell him to hold my hand because it is so cold, not because I want him to warm it, but because I want him to feel how cold I am. He stares down at me like a child. He nearly makes me forget that I am not. His beard entangled with cigar ashes and many different women, I wonder if they were unconscious like me. In my dreams, I shave it off. I shave it until I reach his skin, and then I keep going, until there is nothing left but a memory, a dark figment of a soul that I blow into the wind, and he is gone just like that, so easily. Today when I woke, I saw a body he would drool over, But it's been so long that all I remember of him is the frog we found on the mountain one day, a splash of innocence to remind me how my life was before him. That is my only memory. Now I live with sparkling skin. It's called fairy dust. I got it from Lush. And I smell like lavender after a shower from this lotion my grandma gave me, and exude a freshness from deep within my stomach from all the plant-based shit I eat. Today I can say that I have overcome him because I look at my body and drool. Yes, I took self-hatred out of my vocabulary starting now. Though I feel this something deep within, I think it's called joy. You know, those little pops of happiness you get? And it's wonderful in a way that expunges any sense of doubt or fear, kind of like being high without all the bad parts. Yeah, I get it now. Thank you. This one is kind of like an Ars Poetica. It's called I Write. I write when I dream, I write when I fuck, I write when I'm down on my luck. I write in the morning, but mainly late at night. I write when I'm high, way past my bedtime. I write with big words, but mainly small. I write in a crawl space under my bed. I write with absolutely nothing at all. I write with my finger, I write with my toe, I write with a friend whose name is Crow. I write about nothing, but mainly about everything. I write about you constantly, and I will never tell you. I write for dreamers just like me. I write for deadbeats and punks and thieves. I write for professors and impressors, for big cats and small bees. I write for the man smoking outside my building. I write for his cigarette, for his booty shorts, and the brunette eyeing him as she's shoplifting. I write when I'm bored, which is all the time. I write when I've scored a bag to waste my time. I write when the sun sets and when it rises. I write when the jukebox plays changes and also frightened. I write because there are flowers that bloom every single day. I write because each time a flower blooms, I am closer to something, a something I do not yet know. I write because in the meantime, there are so much my words can sow. Thank you. This next one is for a very dear friend of mine. It's called The Walls Are Pestilent. The walls are pestilent in the daytime. I run my fingers over the way they deny me. I sip on Chardonnay and misery, but that is the old me. I say to excuse the obvious being the sprouted tendrils growing in my brain. I quell them with painkillers and energy medicine, convinced of the latter. Moving towards some infinite gesture, I hold her close in these times, tell her I love her and we are the same height when I wear 5-inch platforms. We kiss our shot glasses goodbye, run down the cobblestone streets of my dreams, inebriated and high, but on life and the thought of adrenaline, nothing else. I woke this morning and died 3 times. Once when I looked at my bank account and twice when I looked at you, a state of existence too good to be true. We run down the cobblestone streets of my dreams, chug whiskey in broad daylight, but just for fun, just for the memories. To walk into a bar and see nobody we know except for the 8-ball in the secret bathroom upstairs. We look at each other and giggle. We never speak with words, we find them unnecessary. Only in the nighttime do we whisper. We call each other Lane to confuse a sense of pain that we have planted in the hydroponic garden I found in the dumpster yesterday. The seedlings I extracted from the neurons in my brain, I planted in the dumpster. I made you watch the whole process. And now I sit here and die 2 more times, once in the dumpster and once in the walls. I made you call the landlord to excavate my body out. Thank you. Okay. I don't know if I'm reading really fast, but it feels like that. And I have one more. It's called Sour. It's also called Just Sour. A sour stomach to remind me of the past I have scattered behind me. On a mountain's edge, held in your embrace as we see down the chasm of possibility. We have been drinking 8% beers and rolling around in the grass with no clothes on. It has been so long since I've seen your face smile. Longer, too, since I've told you that I still care. I climb up on a path well traveled. I am wearing hiking shoes and compression pants and a hiking bag strapped to my chest. I am covered in bug spray and feel sticky. I think of you again. I wonder how long it has been since I crossed your mind, and if it was a happy thought or one of pain, remembering that time in your life and how he was still alive back then. I am running up the mountain, and the wind is wetting my face, producing a well of water in my eyes. I am still thinking of you, but hoping that whatever thoughts you have of me, that they are good ones. I do not see the cliff up ahead, I feel it, and a reaction in my internal gears and cogs set off, and I am stopped in my track. I look around and remember. I feel butterflies. See you sitting somewhere distant, searching for something my love could never be, but you don't see me. I have read all the signs and walk up towards the edge. The butterflies fly up into my esophagus and wrap up into their chrysalis. I feel a change coming. And as I look down the chasm once again, I feel your presence beside me. Not good, not bad. I smell alcohol in your breath, and we both stand there together, silent, yet aware of each other, and breathe in the air of our scattered pasts. Thank you.
Do whatever you need to do. We've had some great performances tonight, guys. And up next, I'm pleased to introduce one of my new favorite poets I've met recently. And I'll let him speak for himself. Give it up for Lars.
All right. Focus your audio. Imagine yourself in New York City on Sunday, December 7th, 1941. Silence was a blanket on the city. The news was on everyone's mind. I wanted a late-night coffee. A cafe was hard to find. Down on Greenwich Street, through the window was red. An old flame. I hesitated, decided to go ahead. I took a Lucky from my pocket, took a seat on the stool, lit up and ordered coffee. I don't smoke as a rule. Somehow it didn't matter. The world was on fire. A man across from us was dressed in perfect attire. We were the only ones in the city that never sleeps. None of us said a word. I was feeling the creeps. Dig it, later.
Next reader is going to be Gary. Welcome, Gary.
Where do all these people come from? Jeez. Oh no. All right. Yeah. It's following me. This one's a couple years ago. It's called Whether or Not. He stepped into the room and many eyes turned to receive his presence. He carried a bit of the night with him. You could feel it. The wind and the night were wrapped around him like a flowing shawl. I've never seen this before, but this time it was simply true. As if the guards of perception were dozing for just a moment. And it persisted, and it persisted, and it was gone. After that, he was just like any other in the room, and there was a general cheery glow all around. I think that's what was wrapped around all of us after that, and each smile and each meeting of eye to eye blew that weather in, wove that atmosphere. Later, I went out alone into the night. The sky was quietly magnificent. The lights through a tinted window joined in with that expanse of stardust, and it seemed, if I allowed it, that winds blowing in from all corners of this old earth carried traces of where they had been, and I, in the mixing bowl, felt traces of this and of that. Soft traces, uplifting and soon forgotten. Thank you. And this one is about the burning of the library at Alexandria, which considered by some one of the great cultural losses of our history on this planet. And supposed to be a repository of what was then ancient knowledge. And who knows, it might have had this secret of the pyramids and how they built them in there, but we'll never know. Ashes of Alexandria. It's all done now but the cleanup. Hundreds of thousands of words, millions of words, scholars' lament, artisans' tears. Just as clouds track slowly across the sky until we can no longer see them, such is the fading of the memory of the teachings and knowledge that sits within those ashes, unavailable to us any longer. Oral traditions being what they are, the fade may run for some time, but a resolute turning point has been reached, and much that was known shall not pass along the chain of births. Ancestors take their knowing with them to the cloud realm, contrary to their labors, contrary to their desire. We will make new knowledge, new knowings. We will make new words, even new tongues, but the making will be from this time forward. The rhythms of older times are not minting any new papyrus. The reasonings born of people rhythming with the wandering herds are not esteemed any longer. Their wisdom will be scoffed at even as they themselves fade. There could have been a wholeness, a layered sea fan of a structure of knowing connected to the earliest ancestors, those with one foot in the kingdom that preceded us, with howls in their throats, webs upon their feet, and hair wild, and stars that shone to them even in a day's light, whispering of times older still, whispering of dust in their bones. And the ashes, what shall we do with them? Well, I'll tell you, I will take some of them and scatter them in bitterness, and others I will pour into flour, mix in beautiful pigments, and decorate everything I see. Thanks. And we're going to do this. Restoration. What once was an old chisel laying rusty and chipped in the shed was taken lovingly and polished, rust rubbed off, oil rubbed in, edge hammered carefully. Yeah, sound effect. Edge hammered carefully till it was brought to a finest edge. Then it was brought to a laboratory where a laser itself heated that edge, and microscopes watched eminently while the sharpness was brought to molecular scale perfection. Once it cooled down, there was a quiet hush. This was Grandpa's favorite tool, an extension of himself, and now, if he were here, he would be pleased, moved even. And certainly, as I survey that shed and its newly restored inhabitant, I could say with assurance just what was the sharpest tool in the shed. Thank you.
Next, we'd like to welcome Hannah.
Hi, everybody. I want to thank Robin, Melissa, and Summer for having us here and for giving us an opportunity to explore the power of language. I'm going to read 3 poems. 2 of them I wrote recently, and then one of them from a little while ago. This first one is called An Uncovering Whisper. A whisper in the wind echoes your name, gently finding its way to not only rest upon you, but imprint into your skin until it sheds, and old you is still you, but old no longer. You are beneath, though not in hiding, but in reverence. You uncover a dimension at a time, in the meanwhile, mixing hues upon the palette, and in your nakedness a clear canvas is rising, prepared to be lathered in colors of truth, painted with fingertips for words, and beneath the paint still lies a clean canvas, restored and repainted, freshly squeezing life onto the pages, smelling the cracking of the spine, flipping the letters, the words meshing clearly into a constellation of burials, treasuring sweetly the juices as each drop hits the pavement, with a woman walking along that twists her own neck to stare at her shadow. And unable to look away, tears form upon her face, gently rolling down, gently seeping, gently caressing. And in this moment, the wind echoes once more. The paint has yet to harden. She stands at the center of a busy intersection, with time halted precisely for her. And there her name goes again, stretching past her into a field of dandelions, where she crouches and breaking the spine of one to hold between two fingers, and stares at the name-calling wind takes hold of each fragment, pulling it apart until only the root is exposed, and her two fingers, standing there beneath it all and hearing the voice of the gentle, calling for her return. She uncovers, proceeds past the now dried paint to sit atop the palette and relish in her cleanliness. Okay. One second. Sorry. Okay. The second one is in honor of the month of love. So this is a poem I wrote about a special man in my life. It's called A Man of Character. With willing hands, his heart penetrates his own gates, keeping watch and earnestly welcoming, to be rich and flow excessively of noble worth, to him that leaves his post to follow him, to sleep on the floor knowing the table is being prepared. His mind seeks more, to be washed and composed entirely of eternity. He does not doubt his steps, but glides along the seam, knowing it was knitted with care to be wonderfully made. His light does not go out at night, a danger to the uncautious, to walk barefoot and wash the feet of others. He washes gracefully, specifically. The day turns gray, and yet his joy perishes at no length. To protect and be protected, a healing man. He loses no sleep and worry, and speaks with righteousness on his tongue, to see his blood flow, and comes from within all things, springs flowing and overflowing. I cannot help but soak in it, desiring more. He paves the trail that follows, a trail already paved, and yet he gives way for the waymaker's presence upon the lost, peace upon the lot. Sober-minded, he falls into bliss, engulfed in love, enveloped in sacred words, to speak precisely from the heart and be judged with great account, to be a proud son gleaming for his father's victory, to be his own, to then be passed, and like this, generations of children are raised and welcomed home and are far from separation. His dreams leave him and are no longer needed in the mental, to see his thoughts before my eyes and know he did it all for you. Must you be proud, for he seeks your heart. Thank you. And this last one is called Venus in Furs. She spins too deeply, mindless of the weight she carries. She lets her shoulders shiver in spite of the Russian beaver hanging down her arms, exposing her breasts, highlighting the bareness of her hyper-empathetic attraction. She spins most beautifully as her eyes are shut, blatantly isolating her tenderness from the stars which overshadow her presence, casting a mist for her perseverance. If only the lashes which fluster with adoration from the sight of her dance can be seen without the magnifying glass of tomorrow. Perhaps this is why she has no friends, for she spins too deeply. Inside the closeness of her home, the backyard door is black and hollow. It smells sweet only to the howling cats yearning for a taste of her sour milk. Her shadow escorts them, and after she's already left them astray. Her daily routine of erosion, her filtration system relies purely on her drift, the wind that spins her whole, the compass of her silence. A natural phenomenon which lies hidden in the nest of emptiness, only to be seen by the one who seeks to find the naked spinning lady in brown fur, whose eyes are closed and smell sweet to one and sour to the other. The seeker of lustful curiosities lies on the wet grass, peeking through the lens of deception at Venus in furs. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello.
I've never done this before, and I'm nervous, so I thought I'd let you guys know that. Okay. Okay, so this is something I wrote like yesterday because I thought maybe I'll do this. It doesn't have a title. Some called her the cool girl. They really meant the complicit girl, the girl who laughs at your sexist jokes, the one who makes them herself. The girl who likes beer. She drinks 40s on purpose. She giggles when you sexually harass her. She talks shit about strangers with you. She slut shames. The guy's girl, but she's a prude because it wouldn't be cool to suck everyone's dick. She swears, makes fun of you, and flirts with your friends. The girl who's a good listener, you can tell her anything. She's disarming, yet insignificant. Then cool starts to mean something different. Cool isn't cool anymore, like the New Year's Eve glasses that stopped making sense in 2009. How about the silly girl? Her clothes never match, and her backpack is shaped like a dog. The intolerant girl. The booze when you say something transphobic girl. The girl's girl. The gays girl. She eats pussy better than those dipshits from high school. How about the weird girl? She has pointless tattoos now and doesn't subtweet her ex anymore. The girl who didn't glow up but is unrecognizable. The real girl? No, not that Ryan Gosling movie. Girl. Maybe not. Let's go with Silly Goose. That's it. And then I just wanted to read an excerpt from the book The Velveteen Rabbit by Marjorie Williams, because I love this book. The Skin Horse had lived longer in the nursery than any others. He was so old that his brown coat was bald in patches and showed the seams underneath, and most of the hairs in his tail had been pulled out to string bead necklaces. He was wise, for he had seen a long succession of mechanical toys arrive to boast and swagger, and by break their mainsprings and pass away. And he knew that they were only toys and would never turn into anything else. For nursery magic is very strange and wonderful, and only those playthings that are old and wise and experienced, like the Skin Horse, understand all about it. "What is real?" asked the rabbit one day when they were lying side by side near the nursery fender before Nana came to tidy the room. "Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and a stick-out handle?" "Real isn't how you are made," said the Skin Horse. "It's a thing that happens to you when a child loves you for a long, long time. Not just to play with, but really loves you. Then you become real." "Does it hurt?" asked the rabbit. "Sometimes," said the Skin Horse, for he was always truthful. "When you are real, you don't mind being hurt." "Does it happen all at once, like being wound up?" he asked, "or bit by bit?" "It doesn't happen all at once," said the Skin Horse. "You become. It takes a long time. That's why it doesn't happen often to people who break easily or have sharp edges or have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off,
and your eyes drop out, and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you are real, you can't be ugly, except to people who don't understand. That's it.
Okay, and I think our last reader, unless anyone else would like to sign up, because you're totally welcome, is Philip Guerreri. Welcome, Philip.
The blinding lights of interrogation. To read what's written on the wind, you close your eyes wide open. 1609. God King James first capital upon the king stone on the ridge above the tidal river Hudson. Come on aboard! Come on aboard! It's Transvolution Times Gazette, right on the banks of the Roundout. The caboose, that is, of that very long train called society, being fueled by the vampires of Mother Earth's blood, insulated blood, that is, being pulled by a locomotive. When it's not freely given, Lord says we got the right to take. Take, take, take. It's your breakfast. I'm giving it to you. Now you got to take it. See? You got choice. Oh, you don't like the broccoli, huh? Wait till your dad gets home. Huh? Mom, you're my father. You were my father before you were my mother. I swam in that oceanless ocean for 9 months. And another 30 hours. Come on, open that zipper. Open that zipper. Ah, about time. About time. And then on his 5th birthday, having a party with the neighborhood boys. 9 boys and 2 girls between Avenue U and Avenue T. That was back in the glory of get the enemy, get the enemy. Oh, your wallet's missing? Oh, I didn't see him. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? And our physical body? Imagine it not being interdependent. How'd they get here? When did they get here? The ghost white ones, the ghost white ones, the ghost white ones. When? After the Great Flood. Yeah? Someone had to maintain those floodgate dikes built by the green-eyed giants with their flaming red hair. So you want to tell me, where's Atlantis when the North Pole became the South Pole and the South Pole became the North Pole? Wow. The look on mommy's faces as we boys started to arrive across the valleys brought with us the gift of technology. The gift of technology. And what's going to hatch the egg that can't be cracked? It's written on the wind. It's written on the sound waves of the wind and the voice. Thank you, folks. Happy Valentine's Day.
Does anybody else want to speak? Or we have a nice way to close? That was lovely. I'm so glad so many people came. I was worried because of the weather. It was so cold. But so many people showed up, and yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling not very at home in the world lately, but I came here tonight, and I didn't want to, and I was late and like blustering in with the frigid cold from outside, and like, I don't know, it was just so like heartwarming to be here and to listen to everybody share, I don't know, their guts, essentially. And yeah, it's always a pleasure to throw my guts at you all and to have you guys throw your guts at me. And I guess, as Elliot would say, it's nice to not have to prepare a face to meet the faces that you meet. So thanks, guys.